I'm Brian Buckmeyer, and you're watching Law and Crime. Straight ahead on Law and Crime Daily. The Parkland school shooter penalty phase trial. The rebuttal case begins with some damning evidence.
What is that design on the boot, if I didn't ask you that before?
That's a swastika.
And week 3 begins in the Sandy Hook defamation trial.
People saying, this must be fake. He's an actor, he's smiling. You're out of character. All those things.
The gripping testimony given by a shooting victim's father. Plus, an unexpected early release in the Pike County massacre trial out of Ohio. What the unexplained adjournment could mean. And later, the North Dakota love triangle trial of Nikki Sue Ensel.
The last time anyone saw Chad Ensel alive was leaving bowling on December 30th, 2019 at approximately 10:30 p.m.
Prosecutors present their opening statement as the defendant is tried in connection with her husband's murder. Law and Crime Daily, covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law and Crime Daily. I'm your host, Brian Buckmeyer. Jurors are back in court for the first time in more than a week as the prosecution begins its rebuttal case in the Parkland school shooter penalty phase trial. On February 14th of 2018, a then 19-year-old gunman opened fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. 17 people were killed and 17 more injured. In October of last year, the gunman pled guilty to all charges. He now faces a sentence of life in prison or the death penalty. On Tuesday, the prosecution began its rebuttal case in the penalty phase trial. This comes nearly 2 weeks after the defense abruptly rested its case, causing Judge Elizabeth Schreier to call the move unprofessional and uncalled for. In the days leading up to the rebuttal case, the judge ruled in favor of the prosecution, allowing the state to show jurors swastikas drawn on the defendant's boots and AR-15. On Tuesday, a Broward County detective took the stand virtually, explaining he met with the defendant at the hospital on the day of the shooting and collected items for evidence.
You came into contact with Nicholas Cruz?
I did.
And did you have occasion to take his shoes?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of shoes were they?
They're boots. They're black boots. This is one of my photographs, and this is one of the boots that I collected on that day from Cruz.
And does this picture 26J truly and accurately depict the boot that you took from the defendant?
Yes.
There's only one swastika. There's nothing on the second boot, correct?
On the left boot, no. I went through them pretty thoroughly.
Is this the same swastika, just a close-up picture?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the same boot. And what is that design on the boot, if I didn't ask you that before?
That's a swastika.
Joining us today is legal analyst Katherine Lizardo and co-host Terry Austin. Katherine, did the prosecution start off strong in the rebuttal case? If so, with what?
I think they did. As we saw, they started off by actually admitting the AR-15 gun, physically admitting it as evidence, and also the magazine and the boot with the swastika symbol on there. Those are very important because we've been seeing how in the defense side, they've been humanizing Nicholas Cruz, and we've forgotten about all of these physical evidence. But by starting off by showing how big and ominous that AR-15 is, that brings that memory back into the jury's mind. Now, just because the swastika and the AR-15 could be prejudicial to Nicholas Cruz doesn't necessarily mean that it's inadmissible or violates his due process. The Florida Supreme Court actually has had a separate case that allowed swastika to be admitted into evidence under circumstances that are more heinous than this.
Absolutely. Now, Terry, after the prosecution's rebuttal, I know we're looking ahead a little far. What happens next in the trial?
Well, you're right, Brian. It is coming to an end after both sides rest. I expect that we'll see motions. We'll see renewed motions. I definitely think the defense is going to make a renewed motion for a mistrial because we've seen that happen several times. And then I think, obviously, they're going to try to finalize those jury instructions. And, of course, we'll have to see closing arguments and deliberation. But deliberation is only going to be about the damages, as we know, because he's already pled guilty to all of this heinous massacre. So we'll see what happens after all of this, but they'll go straight to deliberations and see how much, comes out, whether he's going for life or death.
Of course, again, it's not about a question of innocence or guilt. Again, as Terry said, it's about life or death. In California, the Los Angeles Police Department releases dramatic body camera and surveillance footage where a domestic violence call ends in a fatal shooting. The footage you're looking at is from the September 17th incident. Authorities say the victim, Luis Herrera, called 911 twice, saying his father was intoxicated and beating his mother. After arriving on the scene, one of the officers approached the front porch where Herrera came out, of the home wielding what appeared to be a black assault rifle. Officers yelled at Herrera to drop the weapon, but he refused, continuing to point it at officers. That's when officers shot Herrera, who later died as a result of his injuries. Investigators later determined that what appeared to be an assault weapon in Herrera's hands was really an airsoft gun.
Yeah. I got you covered. Hey, wait, put that down! Put that down! Put out the help call, put out the help call! Hey, put it down, put it down! Put it down! Let go of the gun! Let go of the gun!
The officer who fatally shot Herrera was placed on administrative leave pending the results of an investigation. The investigation will eventually be reviewed by the Los Angeles Police Chief and the city's Board of Police Commissioners to determine whether deadly force was necessary.
If you learned something new from this video, please go ahead and click subscribe. That's the red button down there. And if you have any questions or any legal topics that you'd like me to cover, feel free to go ahead and place that in the comments below, and I'll try my best to make a YouTube video out of that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!